Hi, I'm getting ready to release a new course, Trauma in the Family Tree, and one of the 4 sections that we will be talking about is collective trauma and how that affected our ancestors, how it ripples down and affects us, and how we deal with collective trauma as we move forward in our own lives. Now, often when we think of collective trauma, especially if you're a genealogist or military historian, you often think about, okay, World War II was a major collective global traumatic event. There weren't many people who were not affected by what happened in World War II. Here in America, while we were not invaded or occupied, we still had to deal with sending our boys off to war, our husbands, grandsons, nephews, brothers, husbands, fiancés, not knowing if they're going to come back and not having the ability to connect with them every day. Today we take for granted that we have all of these different social media options where we can keep in touch with the people that we care about. Back then, not an option. If you're looking at overseas, and we can take Europe as an example, the collective trauma there was created not only by the occupying forces or the invading forces, but also the severe rationing, the constant bombing, the constant threat of attack, lack of safety in many cases, and lack of food, especially as we got into the winter of 1944 into 1945, the Battle of the Bulge. We all know about that. The collective trauma that we look at also affects us globally today. If you look at what's happened in the world since, we'll say, March of 2020, when everything started happening, we've all been collectively traumatized in various ways because of lockdowns, or maybe the fear of being sick, or not being able to go out and get the care that we need because of all the rules that were put in place, or the constantly changing rules that are dependent upon whoever is in charge at the moment, and keeping people off balance, and rumors of strikes and not being able to get enough food, or maybe having to stock up or prepare, what's going to happen. It's a traumatizing event, no matter how you look at it. And what that has done is not only create another layer of trauma on the entire world, but it's also poked at our individual traumas and things that we've repressed, energies that have been stuck in our body because at whatever age that it happened, we weren't able to process it, so we just shut it down and it kind of froze up in those spaces in our body or our energy fields. And so now a lot of people are being triggered, maybe don't quite understand what to do with that, how to deal with it, and aren't quite sure how to dig backward, going through your lineage to figure out, well, what is this triggering and where did it really originate? Because a lot of the things that we carry aren't necessarily ours, but belong to our ancestors that have been passed down through our DNA. Only we're the lucky ones that get to heal that. And in pretty much every family, there's one person who steps forward who is deemed the crazy one, the one that nobody understands, the one that has to run away, the one that's trying all this crazy stuff, to heal the family. So if you're one of those people, congratulations. You're in good company. So when we look at collective trauma and what is happening right now, we're also going to be exploring this in the class. And we're going to take some examples of collective trauma. There will be a few, and then you'll be able to go through your own history and sort them out some more. Look for others that have affected you and your ancestors specifically, because we all have very different lineage experiences. And you're going to start using some different tools and mapping and diagramming, kind of figuring out what is it triggering in you. And then maybe work backwards a little bit and try and figure out, how is that connected to your lineage? Where do we need to go to heal that? Sometimes it's personal, it's in the chakra system. Sometimes it's not, it goes back farther and we're just carrying it and it shows up. So If you're interested in exploring collective trauma and how it impacts you and what you can do to heal it for yourself and your ancestors, then take a look at my Trauma in the Family Tree. Details will be coming out in just a few days about this new class. If you click the link that comes with this video and you go to join the Ancestral Souls mailing list, you will receive a discount for the class and be the first to be notified about it. If you have any questions about this course, it will run for about 3 hours on the 27th of February, and it starts at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. We will move through 4 areas: trauma as a biographical event, collective trauma, personal trauma, and looking at energetic tools and different ways that you can figure out what's going on and start to work with it to heal it. If you're not sure if this class is for you, or you're a little worried that it might trigger some things, please email me at info@wwiirwc.com and ask some questions. This class will be very broad strokes, so we're going to touch on a lot of topics to give you a lot to sit with and think about. Then there will be some support options afterwards, some additional classes that will take a lot of these topics into a deeper level, if that's what you choose. So there will still be some other options when we're done. But again, it's very broad strokes, just to give you an idea, because this is not a topic that's discussed in the genealogy or the military research communities. What do we do with this when we're triggered? How do we heal it? How do we identify it across the generations? And how do we deal with the collective trauma that has been on the planet for almost a year now? And will continue for a little bit, because a lot of things are getting ready to be released. And we're going to have even more questions about what's taken place, and probably be triggered a lot by what we learn. So how do we deal with that in a healthy way and let it go? Again, if you're interested, sign up for the Ancestral Souls mailing list. Feel free to email me with questions, and I look forward to walking this journey with you. Bye.